video, I'll be talking about waste, and I'll talk about how waste you can help the environment, and I'll be teaching you simple tips you can do every day to minimize the trash you make every day. So first, I'll go over the 6 R's which can help you along the way. First one is recycle, to reduce, to reuse, to refuse, to rethink, and to repair. One of the easiest ways you can do to help the environment would be to use Ecosia. Ecosia is a search engine just like Google. So with Ecosia, they use 80% of their profit that goes to trees, and that's going to be a really big help to the environment all over the world. So I would recommend to use Ecosia. A second simple way you can do to help the environment would be to use these reusable water bottles every day instead of using plastic water bottles, because it takes about 100 to 450 years for water bottles to actually biodegrade down, and also 1 million water bottles are bought every minute globally around the world, and by the year of 2021 it's set to increase by 20%, and also 9% of the water bottles actually get recycled. So I would recommend getting these. A third simple way you can do to help would be to use these metal straws instead of plastic straws, because about 500 million straws are thrown away each day in America to them in landfills, and it ends up in the oceans as well. So I would recommend bringing these everywhere you go. If you like using straws, I would recommend you using metal straws instead. The fourth simple way you can do to help would be to use these containers instead of plastic bags. Instead of using the plastic bags to put your sandwiches in, to put your chips in, I would recommend using these containers to put your food in. Or I also would really recommend to use steel containers, because they're really good at keeping heat in, cold in. So I would recommend using steel containers, but also these, because you always throw away those plastics and we don't want that to happen. So please use these containers. The fifth simple thing that you can do would be to use these cloth, fabric napkins to clean up messes that you've made. Instead of using paper, I would recommend using these to clean up your messes. Of course, you might do the laundry more, but it's worth it. I would recommend using these cloths to clean up your messes. If you make a mess, if you have some food on your mouth, just wipe it off with a handkerchief. So I would recommend. The sixth advice that I would recommend would be to use these reusable bags every time you go to the store to buy clothes, to buy food, whatever you buy in the stores. I recommend that you bring these every time you go shopping to get your stuff in here, because every minute about 2 million plastic bags are used. So I recommend that you use these, because plastic bags always end up and single one use, always end up in the garbage can, and you might reuse it again, but it will eventually rip. So I recommend using these, and of course carry small little bags in these bags if you want to carry fruit, vegetables as well. So I recommend every time you go shopping to carry bags with you. Another simple way you could do to help every time you go to a restaurant, you go to a fast food restaurant, take out, basically anytime you go eat, don't use plastic utensils like spoons, forks, or napkins, or even use napkins. I recommend that you guys bring your own napkins, your own forks and metal spoons, and just have it in your own container. Of course, people might look at you and be like, you're weird, but it's okay, because we all are weird. And plus, if you do take takeout, like in styrofoam, those things, they never biodegrade, and they never break down. So it's best overall. And if you do take out, I would recommend putting in a different container, asking them politely, being like, hey, can you please put this in a different container? And if you talk with them for a bit, you can convince them, and they will accept your request. So please bring your own stuff every time you go eat. The eighth simple tip would be clothing, because an average American household throws away about 170 pounds of clothes away each year, and 85% of that ends up in landfills. And they also did an experiment in the years of 2000 and 2014, and they found out that people from 2014 used 60% more clothing than people from 2000, and they also use them for half as long. So I would recommend you to not use clothes that you don't actually need. Or I would even recommend you using the Maria Kondo way, which you just grab a piece of clothing. If you feel joy, buy it, but if you don't, then don't buy it. So I recommend you to cut down on your clothing. So there's my 8th tip. Overall, think about how much waste you make every day, because the average American throws away about 4.6 pounds of food away every day. So hopefully you find some of these tips helpful, and hopefully you will use them in your life. So I would always recommend to always pack prepared for these type of situations. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Bye!